We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
I'm not getting sushi after Monday Night Raw.
Good evening from Swansea wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, and we have a massively newsworthy show for you today. We are going to be talking about all the Britt Baker, Danhausen, and Private Party rumors, plus I've got some things to say about Evolution 2. I went on a rant about it the other day, and I think it's only gotten worse since. Plus, we are going to be doing our Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling finishers as well. It's going to be a fun show, and as always, for a fun show, I need a fun panel, and let's kick things off with Mr. Clark Taylor. How are you today, Clark?
I'm stoked to be here. It's 4th of July week, so no better time to head to South Dakota and do a Mount Rushmore than today. I'm stoked. Happy 4th, everybody over here. Happy Wednesday. I'm going to Dynamite tonight. I'm really in a good mood. I'm hard to bother today, but I know that with this crew on Wednesday, you guys are both going to bug me, and it's going to turn into like one of those chippy American versus the UK guys things, and it'll be great. I'm delighted.
Probably some football involved, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. There was a comment here in my heart, like I had a panic for a second then when you were talking, Clark. Because Soul commented, I think Danhausen's time has passed, like Warhorse. Remember the hype around that guy? But I just saw the words Danhausen and passed, and I, for a second, absolutely was terrified. Thankfully, he's fine. We got Fernando in the comments. We have numero one Superfly as well, saying it's time for the weekly Wednesday report. And we got I Make Beats as well. And Fernando is excited. Plus, we got Roundhead in the comments as well, saying if Ludwig Kaiser pulled off the reverse 450 at Mania, he deserves more.
It is Fernando's birthday on the 4th as well, and I will not be on the show on the 4th, so I do want to wish him a happy birthday because this will be the last show that I do until after the 4th.
Oh, yeah, I'll be hosting on the 4th.
Yeah, friend of the show, though. I did want to get my happy birthday in there so he doesn't think I forgot.
Absolutely. Happy early birthday, Fernando. Also today, we do have a man, unfortunately, on this show who is a Chelsea fan, and that is Archie. How are you, Archie?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks, Ben. Soul gave me a bit of a heart attack as well. So didn't quite know why he phrased it like he did there in the comment. But yeah, no, I'm doing very good. It's been a beautiful day in the UK, as beautiful as João Pedro's signing announcement for Chelsea. So I'm looking forward to getting into the show.
That was more overhyped than one of Tony Khan's big announcements. But let's...
Do you think I can get one on each show tonight? I'm going to Dynamite and Collision. One big announcement each.
Enough. Two. I doubt it. He stopped doing them. He got too much hate, didn't he? But
what's the XG on or XA on announcements for Tony Khan?
Over under 1.5.
Taking Allison analysis to
the over.
A new meaning. Let's kick things off though, guys, by talking about this speculation that Britt Baker and Danhausen and Private Party all are looking to potentially leave AEW. Their deals are reportedly up fairly soon. I think Britt Baker's is a bit longer, but the speculation going round right now is maybe they'll leave, maybe they won't, but we're not a dirt cheap. We're not going to get into that, but instead we're going to get into should they leave, case by case. I'll kick us off. Britt Baker, let's face it, she's not even on AEW TV at the minute. She is doing absolutely nothing. So yes, she should go. My question is, should WWE sign her? Because if I'm being completely honest, I don't think they should. Their women's division is so stacked right now, I just don't think she'd stand out enough. She's obviously going to cost a lot to bring in, so I just don't really think it's worth it for WWE's perspective. As for Private Party, NXT desperately need more tag teams, so if they can get Private Party, that would be brilliant. But So a Private Party, I don't know from their perspective if they should leave AEW because they are former tag team champions. Yes, their reign wasn't booked that well, but they are big deals there. So I'm not entirely sure. That one could go either way. But as for Danhausen, this guy is going to print money for WWE. He is going to be a huge star. Quite frankly, I think AEW dropped the ball with him, but 100% he should leave and join WWE if that opportunity presents itself. But Clark, I'm going to go to you next. What would you do if you were these three talents?
So first and foremost, if the WWE is signing Dr. Britt Baker, the actual doctor, DMD, as we know, then yeah, absolutely. But if we're going to give her a makeover and call her a different name, like we have half the talent that comes over, not the ones in particular that go to the main roster, but the other ones, we change those names. Haven't heard of those people. I don't necessarily get it. Dr. Britt Baker is a name brand. There's no debate about that. Her rivalry with Thunder Rosa was huge for AEW at the time. Was it followed up on? Not really well. Did she help out Jamie Hayter on that run? Sure, for sure. Dr. Britt Baker's definitely talented. She needs a change of scenery for sure. I would say go to the WWE, but only under the condition that she goes to the WWE as Dr. Britt Baker. I don't want to hear, Dr. Yankum, the long lost granddaughter of Isaac Yankum. Please don't do that.
What?
No, thank you. Right? And Google history, by the way, that was Kane's first gimmick. The wrestling dentist. It's happened before. When it comes to Private Party, I think they would make an excellent tag team in NXT. I have no problem with that. I also think they do great work in TNA, and I think they still have space in AEW. No matter where they go, they're a talented group. The WWE tag team scene is thin. Private Party fits perfect. I would bring Private Party in, absolutely. But again, please don't repackage them. Please don't do it. It doesn't make sense to me. They've established a brand. We know who they are. I don't need to relearn it. And last, but certainly not least, Danhausen. I believe this man deserves a pass to wrestle wherever in the world he wants. I think he should just be the definition of the Forbidden Door and just show up on WWE, AEW. I can't get enough. Point and curse people, do the thing, sell a bunch of merch, continue to be Danhausen. I really don't care where he goes. He's valuable wherever he goes because he sells merchandise. He's charismatic at a level that's just unique. He's a character actor in a world of people playing characters. He's a method character actor. It's absolutely brilliant. So I have no problem where Danhausen goes. He's valuable wherever he is. And Shad commenting, Danhausen is corny. I could not agree more. So was R-Truth. So are a lot of comedy acts. He carves out that niche really well. And he's valuable to any company he goes to. But of the three we mentioned, I would say he's only a valuable signing in regards to merch sales and entertainment. As far as advancing the product in ring, you're not going to get a 25-minute, 17-star in the Tokyo Dome banger out of Danhausen anytime soon in any company he goes to.
That's true, but at the same time, WWE has always been the entertainment product.
Right.
So I think he would enhance their product.
That's exactly what I just said, is that he would enhance any company that he's at, man. Like, so I don't know why you're trying to start an argument on that.
No, I'm just
literally
saying, in terms of it's a perfect
thing.
fit for WWE. He is the one name out of the three who I think it is a no-brainer to go to WWE. He is the best fit out of those three.
Oh, I don't know if he's the best fit. I think he fits pretty much anywhere in the industry because he plays a unique role that
he hasn't fitted in AEW, is he?
You can count on. He hasn't been used. There's no difference between fitting and being used. He fit when he was used. Hook and Hookhausen, are you kidding me? It landed. Pepsi Phil, all that little stuff he did, landed. Every single time he's been used, it's landed in AEW. He fits there. It's a matter of them fitting him in.
We got Fernando saying Danhausen is tailor-made for WWE.
Yeah.
Absolutely. D6 Warlord says Danhausen to form Iguanahausen and Hendryhausen.
I'm literally about to say that, D6 Warlord. I thought we were
Pepsi-hausen?
Well,
Absolutely
we could see it happen once again there. But I mean, Archie, I want to get your thoughts on these three. Where do you want them to go? Stay or leave?
Well, I'm going to be a bit different and go in the opposite order. So Danhausen, for me, it does not seem like AEW's interested in using him for whatever reason, even though he's one of the top merch sellers in AEW, even though he's not on TV. He should go to WWE. He would do wonders in WWE. Netflix would absolutely love him. And his merch sales will be through the roof. And as DCX Warlord said, give me a Mr. Iguana and Danhausen tag team. I mean, you can make like Danhausen themed puppets sell them on WWE Shop. I mean, that would sell loads of. That would sell loads. That would get a lot of money. I know Anthony, our very own Anthony, would buy that. Private Party. It seems like AEW don't see their appeal or doesn't see the talent that maybe fans see for some whatever reason. They kind of just got fed to the Hurt Syndicate and then didn't really haven't done anything since then. After a pretty lame tag team title run, they're very, very talented guys. So I think leaving AEW and going to WWE would be perfect for them. NXT to start off with, and then they can be one of the main tag teams on the main roster in the future. Britt Baker's a tough one. She's going to have to leave AEW. It's not should she. She's going to have to. Look, her heart's not in it anymore. AEW's heart's not in it anymore. They just can't continue to work together. And look, should Britt Baker go to WWE? As a fan, I've not been the most interested in her work recently. For whatever reason that might be, she's just come from back from like a mini stroke, didn't she? Which is it's a very, very kind of tragic thing to come back from. So she's gonna obviously have to be brushing off ring rust, which she hasn't been able to do much for AEW. But should she go to WWE? I think for her career, yes, but she's gonna have to convince me as to why she's still one of the most talented women wrestlers in the women's division. Because there would have been a time where I thought if Britt Baker went to WWE, that she should have got the same treatment as a Cody Rhodes making her debut.
Wow.
But now, like I'm far from that view now. But she does need to convince me as to show me why she's still got it in a way. And it's not as though she's
Ricky Saints debut, right?
Oh gosh, Clark hates these names.
You've always got to. He hates Ricky Saints. He hates Blake Monroe, and he hates Ethan Page.
Whoa, I don't even know Blake Monroe.
Change.
Yeah,
I don't hate
name.
Blake Monroe. I don't know who she is. I've never heard of her. There's this. I don't know if you've heard of her.
She's
Mariah
the one
May
that was feeling Jordan Grace's muscles on
AEW.
NXT
She had this awesome title run. She looks just like Blake Monroe, and she had this real cool resume. She won the title from Tony Storm. They had this awesome rivalry.
Getting tired.
And it's weird. They just look alike.
Getting tired.
But I've never heard of Blake. This hot new upstart.
That joke's already had its funeral, Clark. It's already had its funeral. It's had its memorial.
I just don't know who she is.
Well, here's the thing. If Britt Baker went to WWE, I would not be opposed to a name change because it's completely misleading. I actually think
Dr.
we
Yankum,
could sue.
You're right.
I think we could sue AEW for misleading us with it, right? Because it says her name's Britt Baker. She's not a baker. She's a dentist. It's a complete lie.
That's her last name.
I thought we were going to
that was good.
That was a career low for me.
I thought we were going to finally get some serious talk here.
Give you credit. I like where you were going with that.
Ben just pulls that out.
Tag team. I make beats. Shut up.
Oh gosh, numero 1 says Britt should go to WWE to give us Britt versus Charlotte. Not entirely sure for Dan though. I simply see him as the next running man where he runs out, scares someone, and then leaves. I mean, he'll sell so much money.
He will, but Britt Baker versus Charlotte Flair seems like a recipe for disaster to me. Like,
I'm going to be honest, numero 1. I'm not interested in that match.
Can we keep them two away from each other? Like Britt and Becky, Britt needs to be in the ring with wrestlers that'll make her look great and kind of help lead her a bit more, considering she does need to brush off that ring rust a bit more. going in the ring with someone like Becky, Io, even Rhea, who's been more of a ring general now. Even Roxanne Perez, even at a young age, she's great at leading her opponents in the ring. Charlotte Flair, I don't know. She kind of like
she has been. She just
but she kind of she picks and chooses who she likes and who she wants to have good performances against.
Yeah, you are certainly right there. D6 Warlord says Blake Monroe is the niece of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, she'd be in her 60s.
Well, yeah, but make that the story.
Marilyn Monroe was born in 1926, and her siblings are older.
By the way, shout out to DCX Warlord. Arsenal is better than Chelsea. Take that, Archie.
DCX Warlord, how lame do you have to be to halfway through click off the daily broadcast and change your profile picture to an Arsenal picture?
I respect it.
Also, what is that profile picture? This isn't
I've
Facebook.
asked this in the
Facebook
chat earlier, guys. When does
anymore.
soccer wrestling season end? What is the actual gap where soccer and wrestling become one unit and we talk about them all on the same shows? There's like a 3-month stretch every year.
It's as close to this at this point.
This is right. We've got like 2 or 3 weeks left before the transfer window, and we start just talking about.
Yes. So anyway,
when do we get to talk about the NFL?
How many goals do you think João Pedro is going to get next season then?
Well, we just had the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano that Norgard is officially joining Arsenal. Done deal, paperwork exchanged. Here
that's the football talk done. So yeah, anyway, Britt Baker, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was no spoilers, Ben.
Sucks. I'm only joking. I like Britt Baker, but I don't see a future for her in WWE. Let's now move on, because let's talk a bit more about the women's division in WWE, specifically Evolution 2. Because they announced this months ago, but they only really started building this card on Monday, 2 weeks before the show. Now, yes, Liv Morgan got injured. That obviously threw a spanner into the works. That would have made plans had to change. But this has made the entire card change. And that just, it doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I think Evolution 2 is a complete and utter afterthought to them. I feel like the only point in it was to counter-program on the same weekend as AEW All in Texas. I don't think they should have done a second Evolution if they weren't going to do proper planning for it, if it wasn't going to feel like a big deal. This should feel like the biggest women's wrestling event of all time, and it's being built in 2 weeks. It's a complete and utter joke. Bayley and Lyra is the only real story with any history. I mean, obviously, Rhea and Io have history, but we've not been telling that story on programming. They're both baby faces, and the last person who Io Sky defended her title against was Rhea Ripley. I can't get my head around this. The booking is completely and utterly lazy, and to be honest with you, in my personal opinion, it is a complete and utter joke. Clark, I want to get your 2 cents out the gates.
Oh man, it's like, I agree. It's what in the world are we doing here? Dude, it feels like a secondary show. It shouldn't. It's silly. Every single women's storyline should be being built towards Evolution, and it should have been a long time ago. And we can't go back in time. It's like too late now. That's the worst part, is we're stuck in this spot where it's sandwiched between all of this other stuff, and it's bound to be overshadowed. And I can't really fathom how a concept as important to the wrestling community and as important to the future of pro wrestling could be overlooked and underutilized so egregiously. Like it isn't. It's not cool. The matches, and this is the worst part, is there's amazing talent on this card, and that talent doesn't deserve this criticism. They deserve the spotlight on something as huge as Evolution 2. And it doesn't feel like that. The spotlight is on how half-booked this is, how short all the builds are, how we got here, the rivalry stuff with AEW, counter-programming wise, all of that. The narrative is not on highlighting the women, which is what the Evolution pay-per-view represents. And as you mentioned, we've got babyface versus babyface across the board here. Io and Rhea are babyfaces. Both. It's Jordan and JC is the only one booked, the one they booked last night, Jordan Grace and JC Jane, where it's heel face. And Jordan Grace traditionally isn't always a babyface. even, right? That's more of a new thing. And at the end of the day, that's maybe the most telegraphed booking because she's going to win that NXT title. We're all pretty dang confident about it. We talked about it off the air last night. And so what bothers me is the card is still going to be stacked. It's still going to be a great show. They're going to be great performances, but it's going to be overshadowed by conjecture and the same stuff that we've seen that led to the show in the first place here. And that's just silly. And the talent doesn't deserve that.
I completely and utterly agree there, Clark. But the question is, Archie, do you?
I think, first of all, I don't buy the Liv Morgan got injured, so they've had to rework the whole card thing, because at most she probably would have been involved in 3 matches. At most 3 matches. She probably would have defended the tag titles, and maybe it would have been Roxanne versus Rhea, and she would have played a part in that somehow. And then, I mean, that's it. I don't think she would have maybe had a hand in a 3rd match. So I think it's probably just a bit of a lazy excuse from WWE. Look, the matches or the build so far has not been good. It's felt rushed. But I don't feel like this is an Evolution 2 thing. I feel like this has been a WWE thing in general. When you look at Night of Champions, when you look at Saturday night's main events across the board, when you look at Money in the Bank, these pay-per-views haven't had, or premium live events haven't had enough time to breathe in between. And every build so far for every premium live event for WWE has felt rushed. So it's not an Evolution 2 thing. I don't think it's about them counter-programming. I think they genuinely did want to move this show onto another weekend because obviously, I mean, maybe AEW did play a part, but you've got the NXT Great American Bash and you've got Goldberg's last match as well. So I don't think AEW played too much of a part. This has just been a WWE thing in general. It's not been an Evolution 2 thing. It's nothing against Evolution 2. This has been a thing that WWE has struggled with this year, and it's something next year they need to sort out. And the other half of this year is schedule your shows better. Leave more room to breathe between your shows. I don't want to see a show every 3 or 4 weeks. I don't want to see a premium live event every 3 weeks. At the moment, the average has been between 2 or 3 weeks between every premium live event or Saturday night's main event. You know, I want to see a month, just over a month of them building up to their next show. So yes, it has been frustrating, but it's been frustrating throughout the whole year because it's been a thing WWE has struggled with, not just at Evolution 2, but throughout the year since WrestleMania.
Good point.
This is one thing that I would say, though, Arch. If you look at other PLEs, your WrestleManias, your SummerSlams, or you even look in other sports, Wimbledon, the Super Bowl, they happen every single year, right? And so if there's one that's a little bit weak or less entertaining than the other, it's not as big of a deal. Evolution 2 is like the Olympics. You can't mess up an Olympics when it's only every 4 years. You can't mess up a World Cup when it's only every 4 years. You can't do that. It's a mistake from WWE's end to not create it as special because guess what? We don't get it every year.
They see it. They definitely see it as the same level as a Clash in Paris, or they don't see it as a pay-per-view like a WrestleMania.
But they did before. The first one was.
Yeah, the first one was treated as such.
No, but I know.
Red carpet for the
but
first one.
They should see this as a bigger deal than it is. But and it's a shame that they don't. One thing I did want to mention as well is I haven't seen a lot of women's wrestlers actually repost and talk about this too much. Like, to me, it just doesn't feel like when the lead up to the first Evolution came. Hang on, just when the lead up to the first Evolution came up, there was a lot of passion driving it. A lot of wrestlers were excited going into it. I feel like the booking of the women's division in WWE, it's, to me, a lot of wrestlers, just from what I've seen on social media, from posts from wrestlers, it seems like they're a bit frustrated, and I wouldn't blame them if they feel like this Evolution 2 is a kind of, from WWE, is a kind of, here you go, there you go, like, now you can stop asking
And
for
that's
it.
an awful attitude too. Give the women more time.
No,
because
it is,
they were
yeah.
doing a great job at that, but they've gone a couple of steps back again lately. I mean,
Yeah,
what I really don't understand, and Shard went on a fantastic rant about this yesterday, but Io Sky, in my opinion, the best women's wrestler in the world today. How on earth, how bad at writing, how bad at booking do you have to be to book the best women's wrestler in the world with the worst championship reign we've seen in quite some time? I mean, she's held it, like 3 months now? She's literally not had a storyline. It's horrific.
Here's the thing with that is I do think Liv Morgan's injury did actually affect that.
But Liv Morgan's injury was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like, look, Liv Morgan and Io Sky, they had a segment. It seemed like that was a match that was going to build up to Night of Champions or something like that. I feel like that was where this Io Sky title reign was going to kickstart. And yes, it should have been kickstarted long before this.
2 months earlier, 2 PLEs earlier.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where it would have
the middle of too much action, though, Archie. That's the problem. Is it doesn't stand out on its own. It has to stand on its own 2 legs because it has to feel special. And to your point earlier about other wrestlers not tweeting about it, if I'm on that show as a talent, I'm excited to be able to perform, and it's an amazing opportunity. But I don't even really want to talk about this, given the conjecture around it that we've seen also online. And I think that's the difference between Evolution 1 and Evolution 2 when it comes to wrestlers specifically and talent specifically responding. I can relate to that. Why would you want to talk about it if the comeback's going to be negative? Like, well, it's overshadowed by this and that and the other.
No,
right?
Don't
talk about it, then just go prove it is the best you can do at this stage. That's where they're at.
I'm as disappointed in it as anyone. I've mentioned it plenty of times that Evolution 2, when it was rumored, was one of my most anticipated wrestling events of the year. And I'm not going into it excited or kind of, rushing to my TV to go watch it, which is a bit of a shame. I know it's going to be a great show, but I'm not rushing to my TV to watch it. And I'm just kind of left in the mindset of, I hope they do it next year so they can learn from their mistakes and make it feel like a bigger deal than as it should do.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. Unfortunately, I don't know. I think it is interesting what you're saying, though, too. They've got so many events now that it is difficult to build for events. I don't want to defend them here because I still think they could have done it a lot better. But it is difficult to build for events months away when you've got another 4 months, 4 events ahead of that, and 2 in the same month.
No, that's not defending them. That's a major criticism for a billionaire company or multi-billion pound company, that they were so naive in the way they scheduled their premium live events that it's coming back to hurt them now. Yeah. I mean, the people that are at the top of WWE aren't stupid. They're very, very talented and very, knowledgeable about what their jobs are. So to kind of be that naive and think, oh, we can put these events so close together and fans will still eat it up is pretty stupid and pretty pathetic. And next year they need to learn from that, and they need to learn that less is more, really, especially in wrestling.
It is, and it's ironic too, because Triple H said when he was doing NXT that 4 pay-per-views a year was the perfect amount. And obviously that's changed since, but that was originally his opinion. But we do have a couple of comments I want to get into here. Roundhead says Io hasn't done anything since Raw after Mania. Davion mentions she hasn't even wrestled since May 12. I Make Beat says Io is like Takeshita. They are both world-class talent who aren't showcased as much as they should be. That's true, but the difference is Io Sky is a world title.
The only wrestler that I think is actually... Well, I wouldn't say this now because she hasn't wrestled in a while, but from Royal Rumble till after WrestleMania, up to Raw after Mania, the only wrestler that I think was putting on performances on par with Io Sky in the ring or better was Will Ospreay. So it's a shame that, and you look at the difference in how those two are being presented in their respective companies.
You never know if she might have something lingering injury-wise that's sort of kept her out of the ring, but on TV, maybe not.
Maybe, but they could have done segments anyway, but I don't think she has.
I'm starting to get a little bit tired of even minor injuries being reported. I think major injuries, I understand that. Like you see something like that happened to Liv Morgan, right? We were just discussing that. That's fair. But minor injuries and stuff, I'd almost rather not know. Like they're on TV. I get they didn't wrestle for a few weeks, but they're still on TV and still
Mm.
Yeah,
relevant.
exactly.
In this case,
Yeah.
I just don't think they have anything for her. Really.
I'm just
But
not sure. Yeah.
let's now move on.
Mhm.
Let's now move on. As Clark's rethinking his... No, he's getting his pen. I thought you were having a spring cleaning mid-show. He's
Remaking my
grabbing his
list.
pen. I have my pen too. I found a pen. If
Mhm.
anybody watched Sunday's show, I do have one now.
My
And
pen's
we are
just in my
going to be
head.
doing a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling finishers.
4.
Archie, Big Arch, you kick us off on this one. Who is
Okay.
on your Mount Rushmore list?
So I'm going to go a bit of personal and obviously a bit of wrestling heritage as well. I'm going to go for obviously the first one's got to be the RKO. I mean, even outside of the wrestling sphere, the RKO is very, very well known. Kind of out of nowhere.
Out of
memes,
nowhere.
Yeah, they're seen everywhere. Even to somebody that doesn't watch any wrestling, if you mention RKO, they'll know that. So the RKO is one. The GTS is another one. Because
Clark's reaction says it all.
I knew you'd do that. But look, I love CM Punk. I'm one of the biggest CM Punk fans in Wrestling Republic. And the GTS to me, it's a finisher that has been a part of my childhood growing up and watching wrestling. And also I just think it looks really cool. And when somebody can sell it well, it looks as good as any finisher. The AA attitude adjustment, that's got to be on there. And then the last one is the Styles Clash. I feel like it's iconic. AJ Styles, again, obviously not as big of an AJ Styles fan as Ben, but he's one of my favorite wrestlers. And Will Ospreay has shown us more now that you can be a lot more innovative with the Styles Clash than we think. So yeah, that's my Mount Rushmore.
That is true. I mean, it is such a cool finisher for sure, the Styles Clash. And to your point, obviously, the Styles Clash, I was actually, when I was first naming my AJ Styles fan page back in the day, was trying to make it related to the Styles Clash. That's how much I loved the name in the move. It was brilliant.
What name did you end up with?
WWE Styles fan. That's what got us our first 5K followers on
That's
the
how we
Wrestling
started,
Republic
dude.
Instagram page.
Yeah, we're
was,
AJ
I knew
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're all
Big
AJ
A.
guys here at the.
we are. To join,
owe
we
him
have
a
to like
debt of
AJ
gratitude.
Styles.
Yeah, we're all AJ fans here at Wrestling Republic.
Yeah,
so
we've got to be thankful. It's like
so
we have to
everybody's
worship
got to
him.
put Styles Clash on the Mount
Thank
Rushmore.
you,
basically.
AJ.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when we have an office, we're gonna have a statue of AJ Styles in the hall. Just
Small
walk
bronze
in,
one though.
and you
Real
have to,
cool.
you have to bow
Need
to
an
it
artist
every day
to
as well.
chisel it.
That's
Yeah.
about as shameless as
Yeah.
Vincent Company.
We're
having a
not
statue
buying
outside
one that's
Man
already
City.
made. We're getting an artist to chisel it.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Clark, what about you? What is your Mount Rushmore list?
Okay, I'm gonna rip a bunch of honorable mentions first because I have too long of a list. So first honorable mention, I'm gonna give you the Vader Bomb because I loved that one.
Ooh.
Second honorable mention, the Tombstone Pile Driver did not make the list, but very close. Unfortunately, left on the cutting room floor. Another one though, the original Mandible Claw. Shout out Bray Wyatt, but really, I'm talking about Mick Foley Mankind's Mandible Claw. Yes, as a child, I was terrified of that. I was like, hand in my mouth? Ooh. Not a fan. Next one, though, the Jackknife Powerbomb.
Ooh,
Kevin Nash, Diesel, one of the most protected power bombs of all time and delivered in a unique way compared to other power bombs.
Mm.
I love
Yes,
using that.
great show.
movie
Another
in
one,
WWE
Razor's
games.
Edge. And last but certainly not least, Goldberg's Jackhammer. Now on to my actual list. The Jackhammer as a finisher, it was so protected. And as a kid, every time you hit it, you knew it was over. No one was kicking out of the Jackhammer. When I was a kid, Ben, growing up during the streak with Goldberg, when it came to finishers, what was the most powerful move in wrestling at that time? There was no
roll-up.
debate.
Just
It was
lands
the
you on your
Jackhammer.
back.
Nobody kicked out of it. And he also would get people that you shouldn't get vertical for a suplex and then turned them over and slammed them with the violence he did.
It hurts
Telling
him
you,
more than it hurts them.
Better than you think. That's not true. Either way, on to my list. You and your stupid age bias. Let me talk about my list here. I'm going to give
Okay.
you the RKO because it is that good. He elevated the diamond cutter in a way that was off the charts. My next two are interesting. My next one is Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music, not the super kick, but the original super kick.
Where he tunes
One
up
of the
band.
greatest finishers of all time, and just so good. He could hit it from anywhere. He could hit it at any time. He also could set it up, tune up the band in the corner. It's one of the most versatile finishing moves of all time, and that's what I love about it so much. This one, I think, is a stone left unturned on all of our lists, and I'm super glad it came to my mind. That's why I changed my list last minute. The man that invented the DDT, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Whoa,
nobody kicked out of the DDT. And I love the DDT as a move. There's a reason everybody's a copycat now. It may not be protected anymore, but it is a compliment to the originator of the maneuver, and that is Jake the Snake Roberts. So he deserves his spot on Mount Rushmore. Absolutely, because when your move becomes a regular move in people's move sets, that means they saw it. Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, if you don't have this one on your all-time finishers list, it's the kick in the stomach. It's the Stone Cold Stunner. Come on, guys. It's the Stunner. Somebody throw me a beer. Where's the crowd at? Steve Austin, the best finisher of all time. The crowd would pop once in anticipation, and then again when the move hit. It is absolutely the best finisher of all time, and we didn't have to rank them when it comes to our Mount Rushmores, but if we did, it's the best finisher of all time, and there's no debate about it.
Wow.
I only left it off my list for one reason, and that's because if you tried that in real life, that was
you weren't born.
Not work.
It's because you weren't born.
Well, as we've seen. But I do have to correct you on one thing, Clark, because like Americans often do, you've claimed credit for something which was not made in America. The DDT was actually being done in both Mexico and the UK over a decade before Jake the Snake was actually doing it.
Who made the DDT?
Stolen.
Classic, Clark.
Look at the fans. Look at the fans.
The argument is that Goldman was they believe was the first one to do it.
Right. I'm not saying he invented the move
That's
itself.
exactly what you
He's
said.
the one that made it. I did say it, but I didn't mean it literally. Forget it.
No, you are right. He made it famous. I'll let you off. But now on to my
Also,
list.
it wasn't called the DDT.
No, it wasn't. That was he named it. Yeah.
Because you know why it's called the DDT.
Because it's
Google what DDT is.
I don't know what it means. I can see it right on my screen.
It's poison.
Oh, because Jake the Snake.
Maybe I'm not so silly.
He invented a good name for it. I'll tell you that. Probably claims he invented the poison too. But on now to my Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling moves, because of course I've got to go for the basic one, the RKO. I mean, out of nowhere, the best finisher of all time, hands down, no debate, unless you're Clark and think it's a Stone Cold Steve Austin stunner. But up next, I want to go for another simple one, but at the end of the day, it would literally kill you. People have died from this move, and that is the stomp. It is lethal, curb stomp, whatever you want to call it. It is lethal, It is simple, but yeah, I mean, you die. Third, I've got to go for, do you know what? I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm going to go for Jon Moxley's Death Rider, because this is the DDT, but better. Why? Because he lifts you up and then puts you down. It's even more brutal.
Jack.
Pardon?
He took it from Cactus Jack.
Well, Jon Moxley does it better. But up next, last but certainly not least, I'm just going to go. It's basic, but again, another one which can kill you, the pile driver. At the end of the day, nobody's kicking it out of that.
Gotch style? Stump puller? Which style?
Gotch style, I think, is the easiest to actually execute. Package, I feel like you couldn't really do in real life. Like
I was thinking stump puller is my favorite, where the old school, speaking of Cactus Jack, pull the back of the pants.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the easiest. Yeah.
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 I mean, honestly, I love the pile driver. I almost had it on there.
We'll next time we do a wrestling public meetup, we'll experiment it. But up next,
let's not.
I do want to give an honorable mention though to one move, and that move is Baron Corbin's End of Days. Because that finisher
Yeah.
is actually the out of nowhere ness of it as well. It's so
that's
cool.
really he
So
got a
cool.
lot.
Yeah.
He got a lot of heat for using that move as well. Didn't
The
he?
end of days is money.
And he got, honestly, I think that saved his career about 5 years. I think he'd been released 5 years earlier
Honestly.
if it wasn't for that finisher being so over.
And you in the comments with Bossman Slam's a good one too.
Yeah, that is good
Yeah.
there. I make beats as Cactus Driver, FTW. And we got numero 1 saying, my Mount Rushmore is the Poke of Doom, the Cobra, the 6th move of Doom, and Rikishi's.
Wait, what was John Cena's lightning punch? That's the dumbest one. If we do worst finisher of all time, when
That's
he did
what it
that,
was, the 6th move of Doom.
Yeah, 6th move of Doom.
yeah, that is the dumbest thing
It
anyone's
sucked.
ever done.
He
in a
had
ring.
it for like a week, and he realized how rubbish it was, and he was like, you know what? We'll ignore that. We'll take that off the out of the
Nobody
move of
does
Doom.
that. Swanton Bomb's a good call.
Isn't that from like an anime
good
or
call.
something?
I think so, but in wrestling, especially at his age, I know you're going to put the ages.
No, obviously
but
I know
at
it's
his
it
age
looks
doing
unrealistic.
It
I'm just
looked
saying.
so dumb.
You know what?
Yeah,
I
it
would
did
throw
look
in
dumb,
another
yeah.
honorable mention, by the way. A lot of people have done the 450 splash, but Juventud Guerrera
Oh,
in
great shout.
WCW, the original, not the original, a lot of people have done it, but his was as good as anybody's. And then like the horn song
claiming
would play
finishes
is
again.
great.
Claiming finishes again.
Well, there we are.
I'm just
guys.
like giving
But you know,
people inventor
DCX
rights.
Warlord says play more Swanton Bomb, go and the kill.
Oh,
switch.
Swanton Bomb's an underrated one.
Claymore's good too. A kick to the face.
Yeah,
You
but
can't really go wrong with that.
Swanton Bomb. I think I didn't grow up in that Jeff Hardy era, so I wasn't really a Jeff Hardy kid. But if I can see why you
The
put Swanton
Swanton
Bomb
was
on there.
wicked for sure.
Mhm.
Honestly, I thought the Twist of Fate was cool for a
Oh, it
variation
was.
of
No, the
a cutter.
Twist of Fate.
Twist of
was,
Fate's
yeah.
underratedly good from both Hardys.
Yeah.
And I would even
Uh,
also add, I would say a lot of people said the spear over on Instagram, so I just did want to address that. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like there's just
yeah.
like a lot of
Yes,
comments.
yeah.
There's a lot of good spears. I think the hardest part is
Braun.
like that debate becomes who has the
Braun.
best one.
It's Braun.
Braun's isn't a spear though. That's just a football tackle.
It is a spear.
That is not what a
spear is.
No, there's a
It's
difference
spear.
because
No, isn't.
no, what he does is shoots a takedown and stays low, but his feet don't leave the ground
Yeah, they
before
do.
yours do, and
He
then
flipped
his
over.
feet leave
He
the
flipped
ground
over when he was-
as
he
he's
was like,
flipping
"He
over
flies
you.
through the air."
No, what I'm saying is he has the most. Listen to me. He has the most leverage on the maneuver of anybody.
This is waffle.
I wouldn't even call it a spear because he
It's a
hits him
spear.
so hard. He has more. First off, if he gets airborne before he hits you, then the move doesn't hurt. Which he
you said the
and
opposite.
I
Wilfred are
wouldn't want to take.
You're
Say that to
backtracking.
speed. Say that to speed. I wouldn't want to take that. I wouldn't want to.
No,
Still
no,
hasn't
no.
recovered.
His feet are on the ground as he connects, and then he flips. And then he flips. That's the scary part is the force of him pushing off the ground and using his legs for leverage, which leverage points in wrestling are the most important thing for getting a guy on the ground. That's why I don't even consider his a spear, because you
It's a
look at like
spear.
Edge
It's a spear.
and Bobby Lashley and guys like that, they get airborne. They're like horizontal by the time they connect with you. Braun Breaker is slam spearing. you.
Should we get the
It's a
VAR
spear.
lines out? VAR lines out for.
We
Clark
might
so
have. I mean, I
can-
don't
so
even think
can
we need to.
analyse it?
It's so he just does a spear better. It's as simple as that.
not a
Clark's
spear.
now become Archie. This is what's happened.
Yeah, you know what?
Clark's now
By the way,
become-
you mentioned tackling technique and other stuff like that. We're gonna do on the next trip. We'll drill spears. See how that goes.
Clark's now
Can-
become
I-
one of
I'm
these
not
like
going on that trip.
old-time analysts, where it's like, oh, it's not the way the spear used to be back in my day. That's what's happening here.
There's a difference between cutting somebody in half with full leverage at full
Clark's just the
speed
American Roy
and
Keane.
You know what, I'm gonna
diving
do a
through the air to
shaft
hit
and get a
somebody
mute
in the
button
middle
out.
of their body. There's
But
a huge difference.
Garrett Sorry says the MJF kangaroo kick.
Did you say your last one, Ben?
Yeah.
was
RKO
it?
Stomp, Death Rider, and Pile Driver.
Okay, the other
Oh,
thing
oh,
that
yeah.
I noticed
Sorry.
also, by the way, and I know we're going long though,
was not
but
gonna
how about
compensate
no
you.
submissions? No submissions.
Figure 4, that's a good shout. I'm not a submission guy, but that does bring us to the end of the podcast. Thank you, Archie. Thank you, Clark. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk a little bit of AEW. Thank you to everybody in the comments. We really appreciate you watching. Have a fantastic Wednesday. Peace.